All right, guys. So my next guests are really no strangers to the show. At least one of them isn't. You've heard us beating the drum of BentBox Comics quite a few times, and they're back with a new project. But I want to do some quick introduction. So again, you've met Chris O'Hara, founder of BentBox Comics, publisher of BentBox Comics. Here lately, he has been going to the ends of the earth, finding really cool projects and creators and bringing them to the forefront of this crowdfunding movement and, getting their projects off the ground and just, telling great stories. But who you have not met, at least not on this platform, is my man, Alex Ortiz. Alex has always been the kid in the back of the classroom drawing every chance he got. His love for art grew as he discovered it could be used to tell stories. He brings his life into his work, the funny days, the hard days, the lessons learned, and his faith all find their way into his comic book storytelling. With over a decade of artistic experience and 5 years writing, he's ready to bring Haven to all of you. Haven being a really cool book that is live on Kickstarter right now. It's called It Is a Haven with You. And here to talk with me about it are Alex Ortiz and Chris O'Hara. How you guys doing today, sirs?
Very good, very good.
Doing good, man. Thanks for having me back.
No
Glad you're not
problem at
sick of
all.
me yet.
Yeah, no. I mean, listen, you bring a different project, different flavor every time. So
Every time.
I don't know. It's like you like potato
Keep it
chips, you
fresh.
like Pringles, just get a
Yeah.
different tube.
Yep. That's me. The Pringles of indie comics. Thank you.
Listen, man, at least you're not Utz.
Yeah.
But
Good point.
so, Alex, it's your first time here on the show, which means we get to kind of keep you on the spot for a bit. But I'd love to just know, for the sake of the audience, a little bit more about you. Obviously, I mean, I've been looking at the preview pages for this book and this campaign, and it looks amazing. So obviously, you're a very skilled and talented artist. But talk to me a little bit about your journey and why you landed on comics when you could have been doing just about anything else with your art.
Yeah, I think, well, I've always been drawing. At a young age, it was kind of just an outlet. So I was always, kind of the loner kind of kid. So I used drawing whenever I was bored or if I just needed to get away. But then there was my mom. She had a boyfriend at the time, and he had just this chest of comic books, just a whole thick chest full of just a bunch of magazines. I didn't know what they were, and I started pulling them out, and I picked
Good
it
thing those
up.
were comics, man.
Was was
I
it?
said, I said, good thing those were comics.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Might have been the
yeah.
wrong chest.
Right.
It's a good point.
Yeah, they were comics. Um, So he started showing me a couple of them, and I came across Todd McFarlane's work on Spider-Man first, and I was already hooked. The level of detail, and then just seeing like you're reading cartoons after cartoons are over on the TV. So I was already locked in, and then I just started drawing superheroes. Spider-Man was the main thing I was drawing every day, all day, disproportionate, all the way. Um, but then I started grouping up with a couple friends in school, and they were making comics themselves. So I was like, okay, I could do this. So I started doing it. They were very bad. They were very, very bad. But you start somewhere,
Yeah.
and then it just kind of grew. I just kept drawing, didn't stop. A couple of hiatuses here or there, but I kept at it, and here we are, man. I love comic books now. I get inspired by Todd McFarlane's work a lot in Spawn, Joe Madureira with his work in Inhumans, and things like that. Just it just kept me going, and then you can add storytelling to it. So that's where we are.
Nice. I mean, looking at the art, I can see your influences there. And first of all, you represent them well. Like it looks great. Um, but I wanted to ask, like, when it comes to storytelling, what are some of the are there certain genres? Are there certain writers? Like, what really kind of sparked your imagination? So, like, I want to do all of this.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it stems from because I used to write poetry a lot, and then I started writing music. So I think just writing in general just kind of comes to me naturally, and then you just add it to the comic books. Um, I wanted to have my work make an impact somehow, and I use my life and the lessons that I learn. My faith creeps in there too as well, and I just want to be able to help people navigate through things they go through, at least things I understand.
Mm.
Maybe point in some direction, and I'll do that in the storytelling.
Nice, nice. So, um, I'm curious, like, when it comes to storytelling, because like writing,
Mm,
some people view writing as writing. It's like, all right, I can write raps, I can write poems, I can write screenplays, I can write comics. And others are very like specific to the medium. Even like, with music, because I can relate on that piece. For a while I was a rapper, and for me, the songs that came the easiest were like sort of storytelling songs drawing from life experience.
right.
Like, maybe I had a bad day, so I write a song about the bad day, or like a breakup, or whatever it might be. Like, so
Hmm.
those are easy because it's like those emotions are raw and stuff like that. But I'm always curious for, creative writers who, maybe drawing still from sort of like personal experiences in that way, but they have to tell stories in a way that's kind of universal,
Right.
and kind of in some ways distanced from the way you may be personally feeling or whatever, right? Like it's like, okay, I can't tell a story about, my friend Bob. I got to protect his identity or whatever. And so it
Hmm.
becomes Jack and the beanstalk. And now everything's like imagery and stuff. How do you operate going from something that's like deeply personal and bringing it to life in a way that others can relate to?
That's a good one. Um, for this here, I always go back to a scripture that I read in the Bible. And I'm going to paraphrase because I don't have these things memorized. It was when Paul was talking about be he was explaining to be like everyone else, but not of them. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like being dressed in ways that you can be recognized, but you're bringing something new to it. So I take my life experience, and it could be a very personal thing, but I look at the core of it and how it applies universally, and then I write based on that. Um, so yeah, that's how I go about my storytelling. I don't try to explain to people that this is the one road to the success kind of thing. I explain to people that there's many forks, but there is a singular ending to it, and I've reached that, or I'm gaining traction on that. So that's what I add to the storytelling versus just something individual to myself.
Mm. Yeah, it's funny. As you were talking, I was trying to find the scripture because it's right there in my head. Like, but Paul, the apostle Paul, like traveled a lot in his ministry.
Hmm.
Talks about, you know, making those travels and like kind of giving instructions to churches, like, hey, like, look, when I was in Rome, this is how I acted, right? And when I was
Right.
over here, like, and it's like, there's nuance to travel. There's cultural sensitivities, right? There are
Hmm.
areas where it's like, all right, if I'm over here doing these things with these people, to them it's all good, but to somebody that might know me from another context, it could be offensive and so on. So
Right.
that's dope. That's dope. Now bringing that to storytelling, I guess this is a great time for me to ask, what is It's a Haven with You about?
It is a haven with you is, if I give just the quick pitch, it is about a skyship technician who dies, comes back bonded to something ancient, and becomes the most valuable threat to the city. Now, with that at its core, it is about letting go of the old and becoming something new. That is the core message of the story. Dressed up in sci-fi, fantasy, steampunk, you got skyships from things like Treasure Planet. If you're a fan of mystery and ominous things like Hellboy, There's definitely influence of that there, and a little hint of a Ghost in the Shell because I like the cyber vibe from the TV show there. So it's dressed.
Nice. What's funny is like all of that, you are completely speaking my wife's language. Like that is all her
Nice
tastes kind of wrapped into one thing.
for
Um,
sure.
so Chris, I'll ask you like how you came across this story and what was it about Alex's pitch that you were like, "No, I gotta help bring this to life."
Uh, well, I mean, I say this all the time, but I go hunting very often for artists. I try and find, my feed is 99.9% artists. Um, and I want to say I stumbled upon Alex's work on it was either TikTok or Instagram. Instagram is probably where I'm most active, but I've recently gotten more active on Instagram or TikTok, thanks to another creator I'm bringing on and working with, which we'll have to do another show with him. But as I've kind of like interacted with his world and all the people he follows, that's where I think I mainly saw Alex's work, and I just there's something about it that basically what he just pitched. It was very. I'm a huge fan of like whimsy and kind of not caricature, but like over exaggerated features and like especially the color palette was just speaking my language. And it was quite literally just seeing the imagery. The imagery, I was like, this is sick. Like this is phenomenal artwork. This guy knows what he's doing. And I'm not afraid to shoot my shot. So I tend to DM everybody. So if I think your stuff's dope, you're gonna get a DM from me. And that's just where it started. Kind of just chatted with him, asked if he's ever considered partnering up with a publisher before, if he'd be curious or interested. And it kind of just snowballed from there. We kind of, we align on a lot of things personally as well. So it's been a lot of fun just hanging out with Alex and getting to know him. And then, not to mention, you know, I like to say that BentBox only has bangers. And I think adding it as a haven to you keeps that rule of thumb.
Yeah, no, it certainly appears to be keeping up the tradition very well, you know. And to your point about the colors, I do love the palette. Alex, you color it yourself too?
Yes, sir.
That's crazy. Like that is wild. I mean, I don't know. I talk to crowdfunding comic creators quite often, right? And there's just varying degrees of how would I put this? There's varying degrees of skill, professionalism, and ultimately quality. Quality is the word I was searching for there.
Mhm.
And this is top notch. Like, you know, I don't know if you've published any stories before. Like, is this your first major project?
Ye- Yes, I have written things like years prior, but nothing that I'm proud of. So I'll just leave that in limbo there, just kind of chilling. But this is my first project that I am taking very seriously.
Nice. Like, if I look distracted, it's because I keep going. They sent me an 11-page preview of this
Mhm.
book, and I just keep going back and forth through the 11 pages. I'll edit some of this uh, into the interview, but I'll just hold this up in front just for a second so you guys can see like what I'm looking at.
That's the
Like,
page.
Yeah, it's really good.
just the composition on these pages is great, and it's like it's simple, but it's that type of stuff that I kind of nerd out over,
Hmm.
like the way your eye is drawn across the page.
Right.
Um, like even this one, right? Like that panel too, the way it like breaks out into the rest of the page, like that is stuff you don't often see on first time projects, especially not like a first time project from a first time writer. Um, and I imagine that it's helpful or you benefit from being the writer and artist. So it's like you can kind of tell a story visually, even if you don't necessarily have the words to say it in a moment. Like, but
Mhm.
I'm curious as to like what comes first. Like, is it the story? Is it the art? Do you see pages or do you see words first? Like, how does that go for you?
Um, my brain works like clips from films.
Mm,
So I'll see a scene that has like some kind of weight to it, and just a maybe like a 20-second scene, and then I'll have to write out how I got to that scene. So
Hmm,
the images definitely do come first, and then the writing kind of builds up to it.
nice.
Mhm.
So that's interesting. And so you're beginning with the end in mind,
Mhm.
which is good. But I have to assume that things still surprise you along the way.
Oh
Like
yeah.
maybe you might begin with an ending in mind, but like as you're going through the process, something changes and you're like, oh wait, now let's change. Let's correct that, or let's kind of see where the spirit's moving on this page. Like how does that go? How do you allow yourself the room to continue creating?
Yeah, you said it. The way the spirit moves. I'll have the scene and then I'll write up something, and as I'm drawing it, the story just kind of starts walking itself. So sometimes I'll write a full 3 pages of a comic book strip there, and then I delete it because the story has something else that needs to be said. So a lot of it, my process now is more of just writing bullet points and then just allowing the art to kind of get to those points. Um, it's definitely led, I'll say that, and then I just follow through with what I see in my head, leading up to those bullet points. I need to let the composition speak, and sometimes what you write in your scripts, um, divide that. So you kind of it that is the benefit of being writer and the artist. You can make those changes on a whim
Hmm,
without having to have to, hey, we got to rewrite this, or hey, can we
Hmm.
change this whole panel? So it does definitely help being the writer and the artist.
nice. So, fans of the channel will know that for the last 5 years, I've been doing a series called The Pull List, where I break down which comics I'm buying every week at my local comic shop. And for all 5 years of this show, The Walking Dead Deluxe has been on it. Um, and it's funny, it's a running joke because I don't really read The Walking Dead Deluxe, but it
Mm,
has all this back matter and Robert Kirkman just explaining like how every little thing came together. And I think the first issue, he talks about how like he kind of found the formula for surprising people with page turns. And so it's like his outline kind of starts with like a bunch of bullet points in the same way. And it's like, all
mm,
right, on page 3, this will happen. Page 6, this will happen, and so on. And I just think that's interesting. It's always interesting to me the formula that people come up with to get to the end result. Um,
mhm.
but I think it's cool because it's like the way he describes it is more like a rigid structure, but he allows himself room in the structure, um,
Right.
which in the same way, this is random, but Rakim, the I would call him like the godfather of like modern rap, right? Like there is rap before Rakim. It
Mm,
was like, I don't want to imitate 80s rap, but and then there's rap after, right? And it's like there's rhyme within rhyme and so on. But Rakim says that he would like put dots on the paper to kind of like figure out his cadence and like where he's going to sit on the beat and then put words to kind of fill in those dots. And I thought that's cool,
that's interesting.
right?
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
but like, and so you've got like everybody's got their flows or their structure, but you've said that you're allowing the spirit to move or God to take control or creativity, however you
Mm,
would put it. I'm curious though, like just to take a step back because your faith is super important to you. I'm a youth minister. My faith is really important to me. And I'm
okay.
curious as to, what your story is. How, I don't like, were you raised Christian? What's your faith? How did that walk inform your creative life?
Yeah. I wasn't, yeah, I mean, just like anybody else, I wasn't always Christian. Um, I grew up in the system. So my family was pretty much, separated. So I was in foster homes and shelters and things like that growing up. So art did become that outlet during that phase. And then, like I said, I started putting into storytelling. and it soon turned into just ways I can talk about what I'm going through. Same with rap, same with just making music like instrumentals and things like that. Um, and then I ended up staying with one of my buddies. His name is Adam, and his mom, she was very very Christian. And I started going to their church, and she started speaking over me and saying that I was going to do, particular things, pretty much like prophesying over me and stuff.
Mhm.
And she told me, you know she told me very personal things that I didn't tell anybody else. And this is like a really small church, like maybe 15 people that I don't know. I just moved in with my buddy because, home was struggling and stuff like that. And then I meet his mom, and she speaks over me like that. So that's what started me on my journey towards God. And then um I I started having it like dreams and experiences where um I, s- I don't know how to explain it, but I see these things and stories, like I said, in my head, like movies that aren't existing yet. And I add that to my comic book storytelling. So, but I also love the Lord. And I'm not just gonna write something that's just cool fighting on a page. And I'm also not gonna hit people over the head with the Bible, because
Mhm.
that pushes people away. I want to introduce people to someone that changed me drastically, and that's Jesus. But I have to do that in a loving way, right?
Mhm.
Invite people to this. So when I write stories, I write them in ways that anyone can read it and ask questions to themselves.
Mhm.
Anyone. And then when a Christian reads it, or believer, they'll be able to see it plain as day when they read it through. So that's how I operate. My journey with the Lord has been bad because I'm so hard headed, and there came a time in my life where the roof fell down on my head to kind of
Mhm.
wake me up, and now I don't want to touch nothing that doesn't have to do with somehow inviting somebody to what I've experienced, and it is so good what I've experienced, and I just want to share that. And the way I do that is through what I'm gifted with, and that's this right here.
It's so funny, like that. First of all, um, to have an encounter like that is amazing, right? Like what you're describing is, we describe in Christian circles as a word of knowledge, right?
Mhm.
Like Holy Spirit gave that lady, information about you that you knew was straight up about you. She's
Right.
like, oh, okay, well, someone's telling me I need to tell you this, right? And you're
Mhm.
like, geez, you just like spoke in the last 20 years of my past. That's crazy. Um, but it's like he gives us those entry points,
Right.
because like you said, it's not about beating anybody over the head. It really is an invitation into something that is pure, that is refreshing. Like it's
Mhm.
not, I don't know, some people hear the gospel and maybe they grew up around it, and so it's like in some ways there's something that feels like a barrier there,
Mhm.
because it's like, we would say it's convicting. And so it's like there's something that they hear or see, and it's like it puts up a mirror and they don't like the reflection. Right.
Mhm.
And so then that, allows for like guilt or shame or something to creep in, and it kind of derails the process. Right.
Mhm.
But truly to have a God encounter is such a beautiful thing. Um, and for me, my journey with God is what brought me into comics. And it wasn't anything like, crazy, like I saw a Christian comic somewhere. But, you know, in my journey, my struggle was with like lust and like porn and stuff. And so
Mhm.
it was like me looking for something like more wholesome to do with my time had me like going back and revisiting all these animated series from my childhood. And so it just so happened DC Universe had just launched an app. And so I can just get like
Right.
Static Shock and all this other stuff. And at the time, they had comics in the app. And so I was like, oh, I could read an issue on the TV. That's cool. And then eventually I ended up in a comic shop. And now here we are talking 5 years later, six
Nice.
years later. It's crazy. But because I was obedient to just be like, let's try to purge some of this stuff and like look at something else, right?
Hmm.
I've got so many friends. I have experienced like kindness in the community in ways that I wouldn't have thought, like practically raised my youngest two kids in a comic shop. Like
For sure.
it's wild. It's wild. But then I'm also getting to meet people like you and help share your stories, which is fun. I don't know. I don't know how we got completely off and on track, but
Yeah, that's
just felt
perfectly
the need
fine.
to
Yeah,
share. Cool.
that's the right
That's
track.
good, man. That's good.
But yeah, so with all that said, you're talking about, your I don't know, there's an aspect of this that in some ways can feel like putting the pill in applesauce, right? Or where some people might see it as like a Trojan horse to get like a point across in a story form, right? I
Okay.
feel like the most prominent example we typically bring up as Christians would be like C.S. Lewis and the Chronicles of Narnia, right? Like telling a
Hmm.
story that feels universal, that is, um, you know, magical, it's otherworldly, it's entertaining, but it's like there's definitely a thread of like, if you know, you know.
Hmm.
Um, is he an influence on your work? Or who has been?
You know, I have not watched all of those. I watched
Same.
maybe half of the first one, and then I saw clips of like the lion saying some speech, and it was
Mhm.
very like close to biblical.
Right.
So I was like, oh, okay. So there are stories out there that do this kind of thing. Um, but that's the beauty of all of it, though, is that we don't have to be a Trojan horse. It's the fact that God is he is relatable in this way because of he came down here to show us that he has experienced all of it.
Mhm.
The hardship, the love, the it being tempted, everything. He's experienced all of it because he wants to show us that he is with us in everything we go through. So he is relatable.
Mhm.
So I would say it's not so much of being a Trojan horse. It's more of just showing who God is. And he is relatable. He's with you in your pains. He's with you in your when you're grieving, when you're in peace, when you're in joy, when the whole storm is around you and you just need a breath. He's sitting right next to you because he's been through all of that. Um, so that's just what it is. It's not Trojan horse. It's just that's who God is. That's how he operates. So when you see films like Narnia and you can relate to it, whether you're a Christian or not, that's who God is. You can connect with him, you know? Um, and then when you are a believer, you see it plain as day.
For sure. What can you tell us about some of the characters in your story?
Yeah, man. So there are a lot of characters. In this first issue, let me bring up some so I can see the characters in front of me because there's quite a lot. So in the first issue, you're gonna see, let's see, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven characters. Excuse me, seven characters. Some get more of that screen time than others. The main character is Nali. She's the one with the purple hair and the cyber looking arms. She is this character who just wants to take care of her family and the shelter that she grew up in and the kids that reside in it. She lives in an underdeveloped side of the this mega city. And if you think mega city, think more of like 50 to 100 cities put all grouped up and crowded into a singular space. And that is the mega city that Haven is. Um, she lives in the under more forgotten parts of this city, so the shelter is kind of run down. They struggle to kind of keep the holes out the roof and things like that. So she takes on uh, hard kind of jobs. Skyship technicians, they are the kinds of workers that when there is wars that happen, She is summoned and they fix the ship as the war is happening. So if there's an engine that gets blown out on one side, they get called, go fix that so we can keep on going through the war. That's how they are. So you're going to see a lot of like that, like Attack on Titan swinging around outside the ship, going into the corridors of the ship to connect the wires back and stuff. It's and the scale of these things are massive. I wanted things to feel huge. So like when they go into a vent of one of these ships, the vent could be the size of an airplane, 7 airplanes, like huge. So they got squadrons of skyship technicians. But in this city, that's considered like the lowest of lowest type of work, like so she does it though because she wants to make sure the shelter keeps operating. The kids in the shelter have blankets, and her little brother, her sister, just everyone is taken care of. So she is a character that I wanted to show representing selflessness, service. And then there are the main ones that you see in the preview is the Ash Mother. That's the one with the blue cape, spawn looking cape. Now I'm not going to say too much about her because it will spoil the story.
Okay.
But she is the main antagonist in this book. For this book, there are more. I'm sorry, yeah, antagonists. There are more, but she's the main one here, and there is a particular arc that I use for her that I think a lot of people are going to appreciate. But I'm not going to say it because that will spoil it if I say even a little bit.
Okay.
And then we have Yashai. So he's not in that preview, but when you pull up the Kickstarter and you see the cover with this cover B, you see all the characters. Dude with the dreads pulled back and the big arm gloves.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah, so this guy is he can open up portals to other dimensions, but he can't walk through them. He's tied to something ancient that I'm not going to spoil here, but him and Nali are definitely going to be working together because jumping through dimensions into other realms and worlds and things like that is a main part of the story. They're going to be doing that quite often. And then you're going to have characters like the Goonies. I don't know if you guys, I know Chris.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. The Goonies, man, that movie, I recently watched it and I was like, I have to include this kind of wholesome lightheartedness into the story. So everything isn't so heavy and weighted and emotional. You know what I mean? So there's
Did you
definitely going to
recently
have.
watch it for the first time, or did you
Oh
grow up
no,
on it like
bro.
I did?
Nah, I grew up
Okay.
on that. Nah.
You worried me. I was like, man, you're late to the game.
I watched it again not
Good,
too long
good,
ago.
good.
Yeah. So there are the kids of the shelter are gonna play a heavy part as well. They're gonna be more on like a boots on the ground kind of characters, mischievous and things like that. You'll see them on cover B as well on the bottom, the bottom three. Yeah, they're gonna be very much Goonies kind of vibe. So you're gonna have a hint of the Goonies up in there. A lot of deep and uh, things that make you ask questions. And then in the back there, where you see the little green guys are called chords. They are a part of. Well, I'm not going to say too much, but they are obsessed with bringing joy to the environment, whether that's playing musical instruments or just making themselves look silly. And there's more to it than that, but for non-spoilers sake. And then the one up there, I'm not going to say anything about. You guys will just have to read the book. The one with the mask and the feathers. She plays a pretty
Gotcha.
serious role as well. But you'll be seeing all these characters, and each character I was very careful to write out their arcs, their own personal arcs, while having it weave into each other's and into the main story. So if you were to try to pull one of them out, it might break the story apart because everything is weaved together.
Got you. So when you talk about giving each character an arc,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like that just, I don't know. Maybe I'm the ignorant one, but that sounds like advanced storytelling techniques. Like that just sounds like learned behavior from somewhere. Right. Is there like a creative writing class you took? Is there a book that you use as like resources? Or is this just inspired by stories you've seen growing up, or like just kind of your whole sum of your experiences so far?
So there is a lot of just inspired things as far as like concepts or ideas I want in the book. But there does come a time where you need to learn how to put things together. So I learned a lot from just YouTube University. There is a channel that I watched a heck of a lot. His channel is Hello Future Me, and he dives deep into storytelling. Um, and then I do pull a lot from shows like Arcane and how all of their characters weaved into the main plot. So and then the I don't know what that cycle is called, what manga writers use, the hero's journey. So I study a lot of that as well. But yeah, from films, successful films, deep films that have a lot of characters like Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, Arcane. I will watch things that have a lot of main and sub characters and watch how they tell the stories side by side to each other and how it impacts the overall. And if it doesn't impact the overall, then well, there might have been a little bit of miswriting there. But yeah.
So Joseph Campbell is the one that came up with the hero's journey.
Hmm.
I just started the audio because I do this old. Well, excuse me, I'm pretty sure he's dead. His book came out in like 1947. But he's got like a bunch of writings. I think they've collected it as what they call it, the Man of a Thousand Faces. So I started the audiobook like legit 2 days ago, but I stopped it because my kids were in the car. But I want to check it out. I don't know. The more I interview creators, the more it like makes me feel like I want to create something, but I have no idea where to start. I don't even have a story idea, but it just feels like, okay, I can't like talk to creative people all the time and not create something. So that's fun. Chris, your face perked up. What is going on over there?
No, I'm listening and also texting my mom.
Gotcha.
For sure.
What's up, mom?
Yeah, yeah, emergencies arise out of nowhere, and it's like, oh gosh, I'm in the middle of something. Just give me a second.
Got
I
you.
call her the queen of bad timing. Sorry, mom, but it's just, it's always when I'm in the middle of something.
Well,
But
hey,
I definitely, the one thing I did do though is I went on and followed Hello Future Me. I didn't know about him. I'm definitely gonna check him out. That sounds pretty sweet.
Yeah,
yeah, I
he's
wrote.
he's he's helped a lot in regards to like storytelling. He there are channels out there that kind of give the surface level, and we
Yeah.
need that.
Hmm.
But his channel definitely dives deep, and he'll take apart. He took apart Lord of the Rings and how they did that. Avatar, the Last Airbender, how they do their storytelling. He takes that apart as well. He makes it simple and plain too.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
good.
that's because I'm similar to where I don't, whenever, because I started writing, that was how this whole thing began, BentBox. And I'm not in any way classically trained or trained in any regard. It was quite literally just similar to you in some aspects of just
Mm,
inspirational ways of coming to it. Just different
mhm,
storylines that I love, different writers, different IPs that just kind of speak to me, and then I just kind of started writing. So far so good, but I do feel those like even right there when you mentioned it is a haven with you, trying to make sure everything's interwoven in some way, shape, or form, or at least connected, or at least impactful. Doesn't necessarily
mhm.
need to be interwoven to everything, but at least
Right.
if you're going to have something on the page, it has to have a reason behind it. And so even that right there, because when I'm writing artificial, I have a huge plan for it, and I have three main characters, and I have to make sure each one has an arc, and all that stuff almost feels overwhelming when you don't really have any background in doing it.
Mm.
But I'll learn some stuff from you, Alex. That'll be my goal. That's another reason why I brought him on. He's trying, I'm trying to just learn things.
For sure. I'm still learning as I go too.
Yeah.
And we all are. We all are. So Alex, I want to. Well, let me do this. I want to share the campaign page and kind of go through some of this art previews because I've been selfishly holding it for myself here on my iPad. I want to show the audience just what we've got going on. At time of recording, there's a little over 3 weeks to go, but as you can see, the campaign is already funded fully. The goal was $1,000. We're at $1,500 so far, and if I know Chris, that means there's probably a stretch goal somewhere.
You do. You know me well. I'm too predictable.
So before we get to the stretch goal, you should know this is a 40-page debut issue, and it's a fantasy epic that's planned to be released quarterly, which is dope. I love that you have the schedule kind of built into the page. That's one sort of downside to crowdfunding is it feels like I get one issue a year, if that, plus the delivery time. So it's cool that you guys have the schedule kind of baked in. You guys can get a digital edition. You can get a physical copy. It's like first 2 covers are $15 each. Oh man, you got a cover by my man Wally McNair.
Yeah, that's my guy.
Word. I know Wally well. As a matter of fact, he's got a new fantasy book launching. I just saw the announcement yesterday. That's dope. And yeah, you can get a collector's bundle with all 3 variant covers. And then we get to like a lot of add-ons and foil covers and cool things, right? Now, Chris, what do we have on stretch goals? What else we got? What are we adding to the pot here?
Well, funny you ask. Keep on scrolling and you will find out. I had to add a graphic and everything. That's my job. My job is the graphic design stuff. I want to make it look good.
Yeah, man. He does a killer job for sure.
Nice. Well, it looks like we've landed on the first stretch goal, which was for $1,500. We get high-res desktop and phone wallpapers, which is dope. At 100 backers, we get a Q&A live stream with Alex. So kind of like this, but you could probably get better answers if you ask better questions. So that'd be dope. Extra stickers for the cords if we get to 2,500. All right, nerd question. So, because I can see, I've just realized these are progress bars.
Yeah.
How are you doing like some kind of math to figure out how much of the image to reveal, or is this just kind of like eyeballing it?
Yeah, that's an eyeball. That's an eyeball job right there. If I've ever seen one, that's an eyeball job.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, if you're really gonna ding me on some math stuff, if you're paying attention that well, fair enough. But that's just me eyeballing it.
And I was just me being a nerd, not a numbers nerd, just looking at like, this seems like a hard effect to achieve.
Yeah, the secret template.
Right.
Yeah, dude, if I could build a macro that could live track it or something like that, that'd be awesome. And just constantly update the image every time a certain nope, it's me on Photoshop. So I'll be on Photoshop making a new image.
Right. That's dope though. All right. So at 150 backers, we get a golden ticket. What would the golden ticket get you?
So as of right now, we're keeping it secret.
Okay.
But we're planning on making it kind of a pretty awesome reward package that you will be getting in the mail along with your backing. So we are not sure if we want to do 3 or 5 yet, but it will be 3 to 5 golden tickets will be slipped into 3 or 5 random physical tiers. And then whenever you get it, you just got to hit us back up, let us know that you're a winner, and then we'll send you your reward package.
That's cool. That's dope. You got to put chocolate in the reward package, by the way.
Okay.
But at 3,500,
it's not melted by the time it gets to you guys.
Well, now you're up in the shipping costs. BJ, you're hurting me here, man. But maybe there'll be chocolate. We'll see.
Put one of the little fridge packs in there.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Right.
We'll do.
So at 3,500, we get an extended physical edition with some extra art, character bios. I love that type of stuff, like just the back matter. We were just talking about The Walking Dead Deluxe, right?
Mm-hmm.
I keep buying it every month, even though I'm not reading it. Well, one, because Robert Kirkman says it won't come out in color any other way, though the lie detector test determined. Anyway, But I'm a sucker for like the character designs and bios and like whatever sort of series Bible you came up with before you started putting the story on the page. Like all of that is just fun to nerd out over. So hopefully we hit that stretch goal.
Hmm.
Now, you did mention that you spent time like, rapping, doing music production, and at 150 backers, we get an early access soundtrack. What can
Yeah.
you tell us about this?
Yeah, so I do I rapped back in the day. But these days I make cinematic scores and things like that. So I've been working on tracks for each character to match their story arc, where they're from, what their culture is like. So each character has their own soundtrack. So if we hit that backer goal there, then you get that early access. Get to listen to it. You can listen while you're flipping through the pages. Um, yeah, man. Cinematic kind of movie music.
Nice. Who are your favorite film composers?
For sure, Hans Zimmer.
Mhm.
And then that's the only name I know. So
So I do. Do you know what? It's a crime that I feel like I don't know many other composer names. I just don't. Hans Zimmer, that's it. But at the same time, I can give you a ton of scores that you know what I mean?
Mhm.
I don't
same,
remember who did them.
Yeah, there's
same.
honestly, the list is short. You'd
Yeah,
be surprised at how many people do like 80% of the film scores.
right.
There's
Right.
Hans Zimmer. Um, Hans Zimmer did The Lion King. Hans Zimmer did the Dark Knight trilogy of films.
Right.
Hmm.
Um, Hans Zimmer's done a lot. Then there's John Williams, who did the Star Wars
Yes.
films,
Mm.
right? And then there is, I believe John Williams did like the 2001 Space Odyssey and all that too.
Did he do
Um,
Jurassic Park? I can't remember who did Jurassic Park.
let's look it up.
John
That was
Williams,
John
right? Yeah, yeah,
Williams.
yeah.
John
Yeah,
Williams
he's
did.
he's
Similar
legend,
vibe.
man.
Yeah, yeah. So there's John Williams. I gotta say, my favorite as of late is Ludwig Göransson, who scores all of Ryan Coogler's films,
Okay,
and
yeah.
as of late has been doing most of Christopher Nolan's films as well. Um,
Nice.
I love how each Göransson score sounds very different. Like he did the
Hmm.
Black Panther soundtrack, again, all the creeds, and most recently Sinners, which I haven't seen, but like his,
You haven't seen Sinners? We're just gonna
Oh,
pause the stream with
oh
us.
no.
I mean,
Dude, it's so good.
So
word,
good.
word.
So good.
Man,
Yeah.
that surprises me. But no, it's phenomenal. I didn't see it in theaters. I wish I had, but I ended up just seeing it when it came out on HBO Max. But man, it
Y'all,
was phenomenal. I loved it. All it did was make me want to write like a
You,
vampire movie.
do you have
That's
a
what it
you
did.
have a good sound system when you watched it?
Me? No.
Yeah.
I have my
Ah,
my like 13-year-old Samsung TV. You know, I know, dude, I'm a humble man.
yeah,
I
yeah,
got a
yeah,
nice
yeah.
46 inch in there, and
Yeah,
I'm
it's not bad.
enjoying
It's
my,
not bad. It's not bad.
you know,
That's just the
I'm
kind of movie
enjoying
you
Michael
gotta
B.
watch
Jordan.
with some booming bass behind it. You know that
Back when I
it's
was in my
a
teen years or early
all right,
college
all
years,
right.
I had the sound bar, I had the surround sound. It was sick. It was so cool. And then I got married and had kids and realized I don't care.
Hey,
Most
for
of my
sure.
movies have to be played at minimal volume anyway now, and it's just, you know what I mean? It's just things change.
For
bro.
sure.
That's the part, right? So I'm still rocking. I got my M Audio BX8s. Like I'm on studio monitors that I keep at like 10% at all times. But
Yep.
the truth is, I'm always listening either with some headphones like this, like some little cheap Bluetooth headphones I got off Amazon, or I've got like some Beats earbuds. But everything I watch, I don't get to watch anything on my computer or on this big TV behind me. This big TV behind me plays Miss Rachel and Jack Hartman's Music for Kids and Curious George. And meanwhile, when I want to watch something, I'm on my iPhone
Yep.
For
Okay,
sure. All
so
right.
we're in the same boat there. I was about to say
I
you're
I'm
lucky I didn't watch it on my iPad because that's how I watch things now. My wife doesn't, she's not super interested in all that stuff. I think she could actually get onto Sinners, but she just wasn't interested.
Hmm.
So I literally woke up early to watch Sinners. That way I didn't have to worry about anyone bothering me on my TV. Otherwise, yeah, I'm watching anything new. I watch Game of Thrones on my iPad. So,
all right. Well, I'm gonna have to, I'm gonna end up learning sooner or later.
yeah, you'll learn. You'll
Yeah,
learn.
for
I'll
sure.
learn.
Absolutely. So if we hit $5,000, which this is the tier that I'm hoping for. You know, last time we were here to talk about wingless, and there was a tier where you could get a wingless stuffy. I want to say
Yep.
it was a pillow, but you
It was
stuff
a
it yourself.
pillow.
Yeah,
Yeah, you had to stuff it.
but
I always laughed about that because, but it was the only thing really available was the pillowcase, and we
right,
could stuff it for you, but then it technically makes it slightly more difficult to ship.
yeah.
So we're like, yeah, just stuff it yourself, which
So
was kind of funny.
I mean, I don't know. I'm all for like little physical items. So the prospect of unlocking a cord plushie just it really excites me. Right, the cords are the little green guys who are providing, whether it's music or comic relief. Like, I don't know. In my head, they're like the minions, but that's just because I haven't read the story yet.
That's
Yeah,
kind of the vibe I
that's
got too.
that's the vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no,
Nice.
the plushies were one of the first things when I saw those. I was like, man, that'd be so cool to do a plushie. And I've wanted to do one for so long for a lot of our different characters because I do feel like a lot of our stories lend themselves to having, whether it be like chibi versions of the characters or something to where we can make a plushie out of it. And plushies, not to sound super, like money driven, but they sell well.
Huh.
And so that's another benefit to it.
Yeah.
But with this, I actually have a family friend at our church who her name's Macy. She's only 16, but she's self-teaching herself how to make crocheted plushies, and they're so good. Like they're very professional looking, very well knitted, very clean. And I was blown away when I saw them. I ended up buying a bunch of her stuff. It was like a penguin and a snowman. I think it was like for Christmas. She had a bunch of cool stuff for Christmas. And so I brought her this idea. I showed her it and she's like, she could do that. And I'm like, well, otherwise I have to buy 2,000 of them from China and they're not even
Right.
that good. You know what I mean? They're kind of crappy. So having this handmade cord plushie available would be so awesome. And so I really want to hit that goal. We made it high because it is, I told her, I was like, I want to pay you for this. I want this to be something that where you're very happy that you're able to contribute. And it almost feels like a little, job that you were able to secure.
Hmm.
So that's why we kind of made it a higher goal. But yeah, it'll unlock a plushie add-on to where you can add it onto your package and we'll ship you a stuffed plushie. You will not have to stuff it yourself.
Nice.
It is completed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep.
No, self-assembly required.
Alex, how much thought have you put into just the idea that when this campaign is over, you're going to have a printed copy of your artwork and it's also in other people's hands? And then there's also the prospect that, you get a plushie of a thing that came out of your imagination. Like, what does that feel like?
Yeah, I haven't thought about the plushie thing yet.
I'm gonna send you one whether we hit the thing or not. So don't
For
worry about
sure.
that.
My wife definitely wants one. When she saw that there, yeah, she loves the chords. And then it took a while for us to come up with the name, but Chris definitely helped out there, and she loves the name too.
Sweet,
So
good.
we're definitely gonna need a plushie there.
I'll send you
But
one.
as far as having the book in my hand and then in other people's hands, I don't know. I haven't really thought of the experience yet. I'm excited for people to read it and experience the hard work that's been put into it. But I think I'm gonna have to wait until it's actually right here, feeling it, flipping through it, and then getting that experience that I'm hearing so much about from other creators.
It's fun. I mean, I've not created anything of note necessarily, right? The best example I have is t-shirt designs. There are merch items available in my shop, and the first time I saw somebody like doing a social media post wearing my shirt. I was like, that's wild. That's a thing that I thought about
Yeah.
one day as an escape from my day job, and now somebody's wearing it. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that must
To
that must have been a
to
good
our
experience.
earlier discussion, there's something about creation that oddly enough, for the amount that we're able to do some form of that. And when it happens,
Mm,
there's nothing like it. And I mean,
right.
even me just being a writer, doing like artificial, when I first held artificial in my hand, got it back from the printer, I was like, this is so cool. There's almost nothing like, and it never gets old. Every time you get your book back, you flip through it. It's just, this is so cool that this just came from up here, and now I have it in my hand, and now someone else is going to read it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
That's dope.
I guess that's like what it's like. Like, God saw it and said it was good. Like,
Mm,
man, I did that. Like,
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, whether it's good, that's a different story, but I did it. I tried.
Dope. So as we wind down, Alex, I want to know, like, from you, when people are done with this story, or at the very least with this first issue, what is it that you would have wanted them to come away with?
um, well, I hope that a reason I put a lot of characters in there is because it's just different journeys in life. So I hope that people connect with one of the characters or some aspect of their story. What I want people to take from this is just hope and and love, patience, endurance. I want people to take a piece from the story and somehow it does impact their own life. To add a something, some kind of equipment to their box that helps them in their own personal walks.
Dope. So, well, you got me. You got me. I went ahead and pledged. And since I can't decide which cover I want, I'm going to back and get the collector's bundle.
Appreciate it.
Because, like, I love the A cover. I also love the B cover. But I would feel terrible if I didn't support my man Wally as well. And so it's like, if I'm going to get two, I might as well get them all, right?
You know,
So
they're all really good covers, man.
they are all really good covers. So, yeah, I had to take this off the screen so that I could actually back it without you guys seeing my credit card information. And now that I tweeted out my support, we can go ahead and wrap this up. But yeah, no, I think we need hope, right? Like, not to derail this conversation any more than we already have, right? But like, it's a crazy time out here.
Yeah.
It's a crazy world. Prices are up on everything. Depending on where you live in the world, there might be like the National Guard on your street corners. Like, there's just all sorts of stuff happening that makes it feel hopeless. So
Right.
if reading these 40 pages is going to bring you hope, like, I really hope, I really want for you to have it. I really do. Like, so I backed it. We already reached the goal. So everybody who backs it is going to get a copy of this book. So you can back with confidence. BentBox has never not delivered on a project. At least none of them that I backed, but I'm joking. Never not delivered. And if you are looking for an example of some of the great work that BentBox Comics has done, then you can go ahead and hit up Global Comics. I'll leave a link in the show notes and in the description of this video to their Global Comics profile. And yeah, if I'm not mistaken, you can still use my discount code and get a year of the Gold Pass for
There you go.
just
Nice.
$59. So
Sweet.
yeah.
We
Not
also
bad.
just launched our new revamped website, so make sure you check that out too. So you can get it digitally, obviously, on Global Comics, but you can get all the physical stuff that we've released in the past at BentBoxComics.com.
Dope. And with that, Alex, it was great to meet you. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing your story and this story with our audience. Chris, thanks as always for trusting me with your time. And with that, like I said, I'll leave links to their social media profiles where you can follow them. You can go to bentboxcomics.com to learn more about what they have to offer. And until next time, stay safe, stay awesome, and read something dope today. Peace.